Welcome to Alberta Municipal Votes 2025 here on Municipal Affairs. Now, we are weeks away from this important municipal election day here in the province of Alberta. Across the province, candidates are stepping forward with visions for stronger communities, smarter growth, and more responsive local governments. And today, we are continuing our series into looking into those candidates who are putting their names forward. And today's conversation is especially timely for Calgarian voters. Joining us today is Sonya Sharp, candidate for Calgary mayor and the mayoral candidate for the Community's First Party. Sharp is running for mayor because she believes Calgary needs a city hall that listens, puts people first, and governs like a great local government, not a big corporation. With over 20 years of experience serving Calgarians and 16 years as a business owner, she brings the practical know-how to deliver real results. Sonya understands that everyday challenges families face and is committed to making your voice heard at City Hall. So let's jump in to our one-on-one interview with mayoral candidate Sonya Sharp. Sonya, thank you so much for sitting down with me. Always a pleasure to sit down with someone who wants to be the next mayor of the great city of Calgary. Let's start with a very simple question I've never been able to ask you, but now I get to.
Oh.
Where did your sense of duty to serve your community come from?
Oh, good question. I started as a lifeguard in 2001, and I think my sense of duty to serve just grew throughout my career at the city. And, most people know I was there for about 20 years internally and in administration. And it really dawned on me in my last year before I quit was if you really want to make the change, you've got to be part of it. And so I ran for council in 2021, and that's where you and I met. And
in that first debate.
And it seems like it's such a long time ago, but it really, time does fly by. And I think that's really, when I knew when I was at the doors, I'd quit my job. And when I was at the doors, I find there's one thing, and people might think I'm crazy about this, but I get a lot of energy from talking to people and listening to them and then trying to do great things for them. That's a lot of energy for me, and that feeds my soul. And I think that duty to serve, there's only so many people that, that can do this job and, realize how important it is. And it was last year when I was thinking, you know what, I'm going to take it that step further and I'm going to run for mayor.
So simple question right off the bat. But you talk about how last year you were starting to have that conversation. Prior to the changes of elections in Alberta, had you considered just running as mayor as yourself? Or was it always something, if I'm going to run, I need to see if there's going to be changes?
You're talking about the
party status. Because you were running, and I should mention that to the listeners and viewers, you're running as the Community First mayoral candidate.
Yes, right.
And prior to your announcement earlier this year, had you considered if the party system hadn't come in, you were going to run no matter what?
I was running no matter what. I had made that decision last year. And to be honest, I'm actually, I was quoted in some of the articles. I wasn't sure about this party system. You don't need partisan politics at City Hall and at a municipal level. What you want is knowing that you're here to serve everybody, no matter what flag they fly under. And you might have your own opinions of, governments, and that's okay, but you're here to serve everybody and every Calgarian. So I had reservation a lot about the party system, what this was going to look like. I had a lot of questions for the Premier and at the time, Minister McIver, and I think they were honest questions. Are we flying under a banner? Because that's not what we should be doing. So as I started to understand the bill and look into this, I thought, okay, what they're really doing is legitimizing what's already there. And they've been some big changes to the funding and all of that. But it was and I'll be honest, it's a lot of work to put a party together. It's not like a provincial federal party. You start with nothing. You start with an idea. oh, I'm going to put a slate or a party together. Well, what is that party going to be called? Who's going to be on it? What are like your principles? What are your mandate? Is there going to be a party whip? So, I think really what it was is just sitting back and thinking, what is this going to look like? And working with current members of council that are running on Communities First and knowing what Calgarians, there's still a 50-50 people think party systems. And,
Are you hearing that at the door?
Yeah, there is still, I would say Calgarians are confused, and fair enough. They would be because this is new, in understanding what this all means. And so one of the biggest questions I get is, so if I vote for my councillor, do I automatically get you? And no, you don't. This isn't like a conventional party. You have to vote for your councillor, you have to vote for your mayor, and you have to vote for your student board trustee, like school board trustee. So I think what's important is us also educating constituents at the door of what this means. And you may get, members from a different party in October that are, part of a majority of next to another party. So I think it's more of an education thing right now, but it's still about 50-50 at the doors.
You can tell your head tilt. You're like, oh God, stay positive, Sonya. Stay positive.
Why am I doing this?
I have buttons. Oh, we talked about it before you got. Okay, we're cutting back in, and 3, 2, 1. I want to get to the name Communities First, because it seems like you're looking at the individual communities instead of Calgarians as an individual whole. Why Community First? What is about communities that you wanted to make sure that people understood with this party?
What I want everyone to understand is everyone belongs to a community. Everyone belongs to a neighborhood, and one of the biggest single investments of your life is where you live. And we're here to represent all of you. And so as you build a party, you're looking at, candidates in each ward, and they're there to represent you. And as a mayor, I'm not only looking at the representative to that ward, I'm looking at the communities in general in Calgary. And I believe there's like over 200 communities in Calgary. So I'm here to serve over 200 communities. And communities are what make your city. And so they come first.
How do we do that, though? Because in the last 4 years, because I see social media, and I know you should always believe what's on social media 100% of the time.
And Google.
Exactly. And Google and Facebook, all the internet. But because I've seen your social media where people have accused you of only favoritizing one community over the other. How do you bring Calgary back together as a whole? Because it seems like over the last 4 years, and I would even say the last 10, 15 years, Calgary's are northwest, northeast, southeast, southwest, and we're not one city anymore. We're 4 different parts of the city. How do you envision your mayoralship making Calgary one again?
I don't look at it like that.
Okay.
I look at it as Calgary's Calgary, and you belong as a citizen of Calgary.
Do you think Calgarians believe that?
I think that good leadership will empower them to realize they belong to the best city in Canada, and that's my goal. And I know, like, I grew up in the Northwest, and I have friends in the Northeast and Southeast, Southwest, any different quadrants. That was more, to me, it's a geography type thing. And I would look at specifically my ward. My ward it's so diverse, right? And some communities need a little more love than others, and that's okay. And as long as you represent everybody, and, as we move forward in the next 90 days, I am going to go to every community in the city. And I want everybody to understand is I'm here to represent you. You are a human that lives in the city, and you deserve to be safe. You deserve a city that's affordable. And the other big thing is you need to trust me and, the government that's elected, and all of that goes together in why I'm running, a safe, affordable city that can, and for people that can trust City Hall again, was one of my biggest reasons of running. And I think, if it's, you can have the same city, but you can change the leadership. And that's what I really want to do. And I'm working with some really good candidates, some incumbents. We have such a strong team, and every single person on this team brings their own perspective and their strengths. And some of us have, weaknesses, and that's important. We have to own those weaknesses, but we also can support each other, and that's important. So, when you look at this council, the turnover already that's happening. having the incumbents on council that turned to me and said, we want you to be your leader, our leader for the city, that was very, like, I would say not just humbling, but it was also, I was empowered by that. So by taking the lead of this party and now working through with the incumbents and selecting candidates to represent Calgary, you are representing Calgary. You belong to community, and that's important. You belong to a quadrant, of course, but you belong to this great city. And for me, as a born and raised Calgarian, it means a lot to me to have to stand out there and say, I want to be your mayor, because I know exactly how to get this city back on track. And I know exactly what you're saying, and I'm here to listen. And it's no longer a dictatorship. It's more, we're working together, and your voice does matter. And that has been lost over the last, 4 to 10 years.
Can I challenge you on that a little bit?
Absolutely.
Okay, understandable that you're there as a council, as a mayor. You're there to represent the community that you has elected you and the city that has elected you. But we all have our own moral beliefs that we stand by.
Absolutely.
We all have our core right and wrong and what we believe is what we should be doing. Does the citizen always win in that case then?
Well, right and wrong. Let's
take fluoride. You said
Right.
during the last election that you would adhere to what
the plebiscite. Yes.
the plebiscite, and people I've seen on your social media saying, why'd you vote in favor of it? But you stuck to your beliefs. How do you do that? How do you ensure that people are being heard while sticking to your beliefs and what you've said?
Okay, so sticking to my beliefs and what I've said for the plebiscite is a great way to look at this, is that it was a democratic vote, right? So if you voted in the last election and you voted for fluoride, that was, I supported the plebiscite. And I said that as I was at the doors, and I stuck with
You said
that.
it pretty early too.
I did say that pretty early because I wanted people to get out and vote.
Yep.
It's really important that you do that. Now, I have my own personal beliefs of fluoride. I have my own personal beliefs of a lot of things. This job is not about me. It's about everybody else. The other thing, we have more examples of this, bag bylaw. If my constituents came to me and said to me, we want this, it is the best thing since sliced bread, I might have said, okay, that's weird, but I'm going to support the majority of my constituents. And I would have supported that. That's not what happened. Rezoning. There's another example. The majority of my constituents and Calgarians did not want that. I did not support it. Did I support other things in the housing strategy? Absolutely. But so I think what it is parking your ideology and parking your personal beliefs. It's tough. If there's a right and wrong, obviously, if it's a danger to citizens, and it's a danger to the Calgary, that's where you have to step in. But I don't know if we've been faced with that in so many ways. But fluoride's a great example because people are upset.
Yes. And we see it all the time.
Exactly.
But I want to get to the crux about you a little bit before we start talking about some of the big topics instead of just talking about fluoride for the next 20 minutes. I talk to people across Calgary all the time, and I hear the same thing over and over again. City Hall is insulated. The message isn't getting out. The message isn't getting into City Hall. It seems to be the old boys club downtown, and nothing's getting heard, and the voices of Calgarians are not being heard. How do you see yourself in your role as the next mayor in ensuring that the voices of Calgarians, every Calgarian, whether you be a new Calgarian, someone who like yourself is born and raised, someone like myself who moved from northern Alberta, how do you see yourself envisioning your mayoralship being the voice for every single Calgarian that is in this great city and who is about to come to our great city?
Well, the first thing you need to do is listen. You need to understand what people are asking you.
Do you think City Hall's forgotten how to do that?
Yeah. We've seen over the last many years, Councillor Wong and I have even brought a motion for engagement. It's this whole checkbox exercise of, come to the town hall and we'll take your advice. No, we need to change that. We also, with I would call it institutional knowledge, because I was there for so many years, I have a very in-depth understanding of how this organization works and where those changes can be made. And I think that one of the biggest things for me is, I don't like to use the words culture change because it frightens people. But there's got to be a change in how we deliver our services, and that is from the top down. And that actually starts with council. We're the governors, and if we're not listening to our citizens, what makes administration want to listen? We got to lead by example. So from all the things that, I've even just talked about, even like bag bylaw or like the rezoning, if we're not listening to Calgarians, how are we keeping administration accountable to listening? So it starts with us. And that is one thing that I will be pushing, is that I'm here for you. I am not here for me. I am not here for administration. I am here as an elected official that's representing every single human in the city.
What are you hearing from Calgarians right now as you knock on doors, as you hold events across this city, which I've seen you do? What are you hearing from Calgarians as their big issues? Because you just mentioned three that you thought: affordability, crime, and transparency. What are you hearing from Calgarians? Are they lining up with what you're saying?
Yeah, so safety is a big deal, still is. And all the wards that I've talked to right now, affordability is top of mind. Obviously, taxes, infrastructure is a big one. And so those kind of also go hand in hand with each other. We talk a little bit about public safety. We're not just talking about police and fire and transit. We're also talking a little bit about businesses, making sure their buildings are safe and maybe adding more security. That added cost goes to the user, or it goes to the consumer. And then infrastructure, that's a big bucket. It's not just the pipes and the roads. It's also like the buildings for fire, the buildings for police. It's the like our transit system. And so those are three things we do here. Taxes is always top of mind when it comes to people and what they're paying every month, and they're just seeing their bills come again, $1,000 here, $1,000 there. Like, we can't tax people out of the city. So those are really important things. And the other big thing that we're hearing is, and it's unfortunate because you feel like you're being painted with the same brush. No, this is the big. It doesn't matter because you don't care anyways. Like, people will say that. It's like no one cares.
There's an apathy in Calgary right now.
And it's sad. So I want people to care. I want people to, think that we care. I want people to know that, I'm there to listen. And I am not always right, and it's okay, and I will admit that. And so I've always tried to show my true colors with people and let them understand. Like, I have been in situations too that I, thinking to myself, can't afford this, or how do I put my kids through this, and you kind of have that. You have to relate to people in this job. It's a people job, and if you can't deal with people or you don't get people, then it's not the job for you.
I get that. But how often do you find yourself needing to listen to both sides of the equation?
Oh, you always.
Because it's great to, it's a people job.
Yeah.
And people are frustrated right now.
Very frustrated.
And I've heard the negative comments from the emails that I get when I have people on my show. I can imagine what you get on a regular basis, just being a counselor for the great city of Calgary. How do you listen to every side knowing that people are just frustrated right now? Is it just people wanting to be heard and listened to, not even and answered? They just want to be listened to?
Both sides need to be listened to. That's your job. Your job is to listen. And then your job is to come up with the most, obviously fact-based approach to making a decision. And that could even be like, if it's a policy decision or a financial decision. But people just want to be listened to, and they feel like they don't have an avenue. And we are that closest to the people, right? Like, when you, as a higher you go up in government, the further you're away. So I would say people are looking for that point contact to talk to their elected official. And sometimes they actually provide solutions. And I'm like, oh, that's a pretty good idea. Let's go with that. But sometimes they're just there, they just want to talk to you, and it's okay. That is your job.
That part of the job?
I do. I really do enjoy talking to people. I enjoy helping them. I enjoy, providing the best advice I can when it comes to certain things. And, I think also too is you grow and you learn from different people, like talking to different people. And sometimes in your mind, you may think you have the answer to everything until you maybe have a conversation with someone, and then you didn't see that side. And that's really important.
You talk about affordability as being one of the big issues that you're hearing from in your campaign, and your team is all about. Now, we all got our property taxes in the last few weeks. I got mine and I was like, oh, another increase, not just from the city, but also from the province. And there's a little bit of a disconnect there when we say that the property taxes have increased so much. The education portion also increased a lot. Gonna just ask the very simple question before I ask the more complex question. Can you stand up to Danielle Smith if you're elected? Because she's passing budgets which affect our budgets here in the city of Calgary. Will you be able to say, Premier Smith, this is not right. You need to start collecting your own taxes because it's going on the backs of us and we're getting the blame?
Yeah, like I think what's important is it doesn't matter who's in that chair of the government of Alberta. It is, I'm here for Calgarians first. And it is really important that you stand up as an elected official to fight for the people you serve. And we're all serving the same people. So I think that also has to be reminded. And I think that there needs to be some changes to the way the province takes our taxes and what they do with it. And maybe there's an opportunity here for us to do a little bit, I would say better things with the money they collect. And if they're going to collect it and it doesn't go to the, education tax, then maybe it's an opportunity for us to relook at that.
Because I know you are sort of constricted for time, I have two very simple questions to end this off. First one is an overarching one, and I'm going to hand over the microphone to you if you don't mind. Why do you want to become the next mayor of this great city of Calgary?
I want this to be the safest city in Canada. I want people to feel like they can live here, and I mean that as in like the affordability side of things. And I want them to trust City Hall. That is why I want to be mayor, and that is why I'm running. I'm a born and raised Calgarian, and I love the city. I love the city, and I would not be doing this if I didn't think I had the not just passion to lead the city, but the drive and determination to make this the best city in Canada.
That sounds awesome. So my final question is, how can people learn more about your party, yourself, get involved in your campaign? This is my favorite question because I get to learn if you actually know your website offhand.
Yeah, I was like, that's a good question. So, of course, you can go to sonyasharpformayor.ca and get all the information about myself and how you can get involved. Obviously, that's really important. Communities First link is on that site as well. And I would just implore people to start thinking about this election. I know everyone thinks it's so far away, but it's not. It's in October. It's less than 90 days now. And, it's going to be one of the biggest elections Calgary is going to see, with a lot of turnover where people are willingly leaving. So get out to vote in October, and I would love to have more people volunteer. We have a good volunteer base, and just be part of this, I would say democratic process. It's your right, and that's the biggest thing. And I love when people come and join us, like when they volunteer and they door knock and say, like, this was the best experience ever. And I'm like, that is great, because you know what? It's your right to vote. It's your right to get involved, and you are going to shape the city.
Certainly are. Sonya, I want to thank you so much for the first of many, I'm assuming, conversations
over
the next
few
90 days. But I appreciate your time and energy, and I think we got under the radar so you can get to your next event. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for tuning in for another episode of Alberta Municipal Votes 2025. Now, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the show so you never miss an upcoming episode. You can follow us on any of the favorite podcast platforms or by visiting us online on YouTube and subscribing to the Cross Border Network channel there. Now, we just want to mention that, yes, we are bringing on political candidates, and we want to be sure that we're giving equal time to everyone who is running in this upcoming election. So, if you are running for the mayor of Calgary or any council candidate position here in the city of Calgary or across Alberta, reach out to us by heading over to our website at crossborderinterviews.ca and finding the Contact Us form, where you can submit and we will get back to you within hours, if not days, from when you submit, and we will get you on the show so you can talk about why you're running for your council position. Now, your support means the world to us. So if you can, share this episode with your friends, your family, and yes, even your community, and help keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and we will be back with a brand new episode of Municipal Affairs shortly. Till then, everyone.